Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, English Lovers by HoneyD. Uh, I'm sorry that I could not come for 1 or 2 weeks because I was busy with some important work. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually move on to the next chapter of our study, that is about sentences. Because we have done the basic portion, we have done like what are the different kinds of the parts of speech, but we have to actually learn that where to use these parts of speech and how can we make sentences by using these parts of speech. I'll just share my screen with you and we will move to our learning session. Okay. Start the broadcast and then we have, yeah. So I'll be just opening the file that we were using earlier for the study purpose. Yeah, here we are. Mhm. Yeah. So that's the thing. Like we were on this portion, and now we have reached to a certain amount of preparation, like that we can make the sentences. First of all, we have to understand what is a sentence and why do we call it a sentence. Like, sentence is something which is a complete saying because it carries a period after that. It is a group of words that makes complete sense. That's a basic definition for it. Um, there are different categories of sentences that we need to know. Why? Because sometimes we ask the questions or ask or say something differently, or we speak something accordingly the requirement. Sometimes we speak politely, sometimes we ask a question, sometimes we command, sometimes we simply assert something accordingly. The way the thing is said, the way the sentences are said, the way the words are being delivered from your mouth, we name them accordingly the kinds of sentences. So basically, we will have the four categories of the sentences, then we will have the subdivision between like among the different categories of them, subcategories. But as you can see on the screen, there are four categories basically. uh, Declarative sentences. From the word itself, it is quite clear what is declarative. So I'll just take a leave from you for 2 minutes, not more than that, because I have to meet my customer. Just wait for a while. So when I was talking to my customer, also, like I made many of the statements. First of all, I asked that how would you like to pay, and like simply I knew that thing that what he is going to buy from me. So I simply told him that that's the stuff, and I told him the amount. I said around 22 something. When I said something, it was said in a tone. So a tone of a particular sentence decides that what kind of sentence it is. So the way we are going to say it, the way we are going to assert it, it'll have its name. Like when I said something, it was a declarative tone. Like if I've said something, I asserted something. I mean to say, a declarative sentence is a sentence that gives information and it ends with a full stop. So when I took a larger pause or a longer pause, sorry, um, big pause, then it'll be a declarative sentence. I put a period after saying something, after speaking something, after asserting something. When I said that, and then thereafter put a full stop on that one, then I said that it is a declarative sentence. A declarative sentence may be a simple sentence and have a subject and predicate. So that's a basic definition for any of the clause also. When we see a clause, it carries a subject and a predicate. Same thing is with the declarative sentence. A declarative sentence can have a subject and a predicate. Like every sentence which is complete in itself will have a subject and a predicate. Always remember that. So have a subject and predicate. It may be a compound sentence having a comma. So by putting a comma, we are going to put a small shorter pause. Like when we are putting a shorter pause, we can add a series of items with that. And a conjunction or a semicolon or semicolon, we call it. Semicolon used with, or semicolon, you can say it. Used with or without a transition word. So when we are using the semicolon or we are using the semicolon, we need not to put it's not required that we are going to put a transition word or we are going to use a conjunction over that, because semicolon is itself acting as that. So that's why we are just trying to use commas, semicolons to make a declarative sentence. Sometimes we are putting the period at the last, completely at the last, so we can make sentences accordingly. A simple sentence, it can be a compound sentence. Depending upon the nature of the sentence, we can call it by its name. Like simple sentence, it will have as one subject and one predicate. If we are talking about the other kinds of compound sentence or the complex sentence, they will vary accordingly, their definitions. Okay, we will talk about them later, but right now we are focusing on the declarative sentence. There, where we have a declaration, wherever somebody is making a declaration or making a statement in the negative form or in the positive form, it depends upon them. Like whichever is the statement, it will be a declarative sentence. Declaration can be done in negation, declaration can be done in assertive form. So declarative sentence by itself, it means that declaration has been done. Declaration can be asserted in a positive like sense, or can be in a negative sense. If I say that I am, I can say I am not. So same way, like the kinds of sentences will vary under the branch of declarative sentences. So most of the time when we make declarative sentences, we have the confidence. Whenever we declare something, whenever we say something with the confidence, it will always come in the declaration. If we are saying something in the negative also, then also it comes with full confidence and full potential by itself. When we say that, no, I haven't done that. So again, the confidence, again, the potential is there in your statement. So declaration is always done in two ways, can be assertive, can be negative. So that depends upon the kind of sentence that you are speaking about. I like climbing, I do not like climbing. Like he is 8 years old, he is not 8 years old. So it depends upon what you say, but it will be a declarative sentence, since there you're making a declaration. We are not talking about the rudimentary parts. We are not talking about the subject, verb, object, and all that stuff. Why? Because we are focusing firstly on the kinds of the sentences, so that you may get to know like what are the different categories of the sentences. So first is the declarative sentence. The declarative sentence will be in any sense negative. It can be assertive. Next is, I'm not talking about the examples yet. We'll talk about them once we are done with the kinds of the sentences and once we are clear about it. Otherwise, I'll just talk about two examples. Like I like climbing, it carries three words. First is its subject, because subject is something that we talk about. Subject is something which does the action in the sentence, but in this sentence, there is no action. There is something, a preference of someone is being said. Like I like climbing, so my preference is for the climbing, and my liking is for the climbing. There is no action done, but simply we have a subject which is the doer of action, but in this one there is no action. And subject is also said to be something which we utter about, or which we say something about. Like climbing is said about I, so that means subject is something that we have spoken about. And what does we speak about in the sentence about I? That is like climbing. I like climbing. So like climbing altogether would be a predicate. Like is the verb here, and climbing is the object here. So climbing here is a phenomena. So it will be a process. I like climbing. So climbing can never be a verb in this sentence. It'll be a gerund. What is a gerund? Gerund is something. Gerund is the present participle form uh, of noun. Like a noun has a certain form which can be written as what we say in very basic language, V1 plus ing. But that will be used as a phenomena and it will be called as a noun then. So whenever present participle is used as a noun in the sentence, it will be called a gerund. So what is a gerund? Something which is a noun, and especially when it comes to the present participle, when it is acting as a noun in the sentence, then we will call it a gerund. So it depends like the way we say it. Same way, the next example, he is 8 years old. So there is again no action, but still we have the division of the different parts. Like he is 8 years old. So old, we know that what is old, what is gold, what is whatsoever it is. But we know that the parts of speech, I'm just trying to put you towards that field, like what we have done already in the class. We have already talked about the 8 parts of speeches. So whatsoever it was, interjection, whatsoever. We didn't talk about the interjection. We will talk about that one. I didn't actually I didn't go with that particular concept because it was easy. But still, in the next session, we will do that one. But I wanted to actually correlate with the kind of stuff that we have already done. So that's why I went straight to the kinds of the sentences because that's the thing that we're going to make. That's the thing that actually we'll utter. That's the thing actually, whenever there would be a question asked, we are going to answer it accordingly. So next is interrogative sentences. I'll actually put emphasis on the same kind of pronunciation, interrogative sentences, not interrogative. Okay. So it's interrogative sentences. Interrogative sentences are used for asking direct questions. Direct means like there are stick to it questions. So stick to the topic. Like they will come straight to the topic. These sentences end with a question mark and have the interrogative sign after that. Interrogative sentences may begin with WH word or can be with the helping verb. So there are 2 categories of the interrogative sentences. One is with the WH word and another is with the helping verb. Basically, the difference is whenever we are adding a WH word to the question category, then definitely the sense of the question gets changed. Like if we are adding why, we will ask a reason in the question. When we are adding when, we are talking about the time in the question. When we are talking about what we will talk about, that means we are talking about a thing in the sentence, or we are asking a question about a thing. What are you doing? What thing are you doing? So we get to know that what kind of thing are you doing. Next, like category is like helping verb type of question. In those categories of the questions, you are going to answer in yes or no, or you're going to say it in assertive or the negative tone. Like whenever you're going to answer that one, it will be like that. So if somebody will ask you, have you done your homework? Then you will say that no, I haven't. So that is in the negative form. So you have said something in the negative tone. So it depends upon the kind of the sentence that is there. Interrogative sentences can be of the 2 categories. One is with the WH word and other is with the helping verb. One which is with the helping verb will answer with the yes or no in the sentence, but one with the WH word will answer it accordingly. Like if we are talking about which, we will talk about the kind of the choices that are there in the question. Which of these notebooks is yours? So it depends upon the kind of sentence, or it depends upon the kind of information that we want to get. So that's how we will make the interrogative sentences into the use. We are going to ask so many questions. What is the right way to iron a shirt? What is the right way? So what is the manner? Like in which way we can do it right way? So that means it depends upon the kind of questions, like what has been asked, it'll be like that. If we are going to ask the same question, but without the WH word, like how is it? Is it the right way? Is it the right way to iron a shirt? No, it can't be. you have to actually sprinkle some water on the kind of like unironed shirt, and then thereafter you need to smoothen it, and then thereafter you need to press it out, and thereafter you're going to get some creases. That's how it is. So we are going to give the directions and everything. So that is imperative sentence. We're going to say something like do this, do that, and all that stuff. That's another thing that we can talk about that later after this. Are your shoes on? That means, are you wearing it or you are without your shoes? So here you are asked, you have been asked a question about yes or no. If you're gonna answer in yes or no straight to it, that won't be right. Let me tell you, that won't be right. You need to consider it very carefully, like what how you're gonna answer it. Because whenever in a speaking part of your examination, whenever you have to answer, you cannot answer in yes or no only. You have to answer in like with explanation. Like for example, here the question is, are your shoes on? Or are you interested in music? For example, the question is, are you interested in music? Music is a part and parcel of life. Everybody speaks the same statement. Music is the melody of life. Without music, I believe um, life is futile and life is senseless. Even everything and anything around us has some kind of music in it. If we talk about a machine, it gives a sound. If we talk about insects, they produce sound. If we talk about our mouth, it also produces some sound, you know. So music is everywhere. I believe music is essential, and very essentially it is required in everybody's life, so that you may get to have a reason for existence of yours. So like I'm just trying to create the kind of answer for that. I mean to say that you are explaining a little bit more. It won't be like yes or no simply. You have to explain a little bit more. That means you cannot stick to only one statement, but it's not like that they have asked you to write an essay or speak out an essay on something. But here you need to complete your verbal expression so that the person who is hearing you will be satisfied that I have gotten my answer from the person. Yeah. So that's the way it is. The interrogative sentences can be the two ways I told you, with the helping verb and with the WH word. And the pattern and the constructions, we'll talk about that later on in the tenses part. We'll talk about that. Imperative sentences where we are telling someone to do something, that we are giving a command, we are asking somebody to do a favor for us, we are actually advising somebody, we are suggesting someone. So it depends upon that. Like we are advising someone, we are suggesting someone, we are requesting someone, we are giving the orders to someone, or we are instructing someone that you do this way, you do that way. So these sentences can be identified by looking at the verb that gives some instructions. So it depends upon that. Like if we say turn left at the bridge, so you have been given an instruction. So please pass me the jam. So here you are being requested because there's the word please. So close the door. You are ordered to close the door. So it depends upon the way the statements are said and the way that they are being uttered, that we're gonna make some meaning out of it. Get out. If I say no, don't go anywhere. Please stick to the lesson. Wait for me. Like it's like requesting somebody, wait for me. Please wait for me. You can add those words which can actually beautify your statement, or you can actually explain them carefully. Then it's exclamatory sentence. Exclamatory sentences are as equal to those words like which are being used in the last part of like your parts of speech. Interjection. Interjection means like there would be different kinds of expressions which can actually express your emotions, which can express your feelings. You know, alas, bravo, hurrah. So there are lots of words like such. Oh, so the way we are going to give the expression, the way the sentence will come out. So it depends upon the kind of word that you're going to use in exclamation, that how you're going to make the sentence. So they express emotions, exclamatory sentences end with the exclamatory sign. Alas, I have ruined my life. Somebody is sad. Somebody is disheartened. Somebody is down to the ground and has dig the has actually dug the grave. You know why? Somebody is actually expiating. Somebody is actually you know, feeling guilty about something. So that's why the person is saying that I have ruined my life. So that's why the person is clearly sad. Hurrah! They have returned safely. That means somebody's expressing the joy. Somebody's expressing the joy that, yeah, somebody has come back, you know, returned safely. So, oh, you shocked me. Like all of a sudden, you're talking about the surprise. So when you talk about the surprise, you see that all of these sentences, all of maximum of these sentences will have exclamation sign after that one. Otherwise, we're going to put the exclamatory sign before for the expression. Give me a second. Thereafter, we have the transition words. What are the transition words? These are used for smooth flow of ideas in a writing. The transition words are another concept. Let me tell you, these are the 4 categories of the sentences that everybody will have to have in their mind, because you will be asked questions from the examiner. So those interrogative sentences must be clear to you, that the way the constructions are made, the way the statements are being uttered, you should know that what kind of question has been asked, the way the answer has to be given. If it is in the yes or no, you have to explain a little bit more. If the question is straightforward, asked in the direct way, that the WH word, then simply you will have to utter the statement accordingly. Like if somebody is asking for a reason, you will give the reason 1 or 2 or 3 or whatsoever number of the reasons are there. So your answer should look natural. It should not be like quite decorative. Right? It should not be artificial. It should not have artificial look in that. Sorry for that. Then transition words are very important. Let me tell you, they are very, very important, because you're going to attach one statement to the other with the use of transition statement. Because whenever you say something with confidence, you will use transition words. Let me tell you. Otherwise, the people will have exact amount of differences, or exact amount of what we say, the distancing between the 2 kinds of sentences that they're going to utter. For example, they're talking about their life. They will actually speak with the pauses, and there won't be any kind of wavering around. So they will be actually on spot. Let me tell you, on spot they won't be using the transition words, but they would be on the spot, and they will be actually uttering whatsoever is required in their speech. But when it comes to the transition words, these are not actually the flaws. These are not actually those ones which are going to ruin your statements. Actually, they are going to help you. They are your friends. Let me tell you, they are your friends. That's how it is. So the transition words are very, very important, extremely important things, like extremely important grammatical words which are required for somebody's excellence in English. Let me tell you. So there are different categories of those. We will talk about that one in the speaking part. Whenever we are going to talk about the speaking portion, there we are going to discuss about that. Okay. Now, when I started talking about the kinds of the sentences, there were different categories of the sentences: declarative, imperative, interrogative, exclamatory. Then we have another category of the sentences. We're going to divide the sentences accordingly. First is the simple sentence, then is the compound. I talked about that one earlier when we were talking about the conjunctions. In this one, we are having the simple sentence, which will carry the subject and the predicate at the last. Then thereafter, we'll have the compound sentence, which will have the subject and predicate attached to the another subject and predicate in between. But there would be a kind of conjunction in between. That would be coordinating conjunction. Usually, there would be a coordinating conjunction which is going to attach the 2 kinds of subject and predicate to the another subject and predicate. Thereafter, we will have Then we'll have the complex sentence. Complex sentence would be something which will be like one having the principal clause attaching to the main clause. Sorry, principal clause attaching to the subordinate clause, which will be assisted by the principal clause for its meaning. So we have discussed about that one in the previous class. If somebody hasn't gotten that, like, you can talk about that, you can discuss about that one, or you can watch about that one in my previous lesson. So I have already attached one link to the different kinds of sentences in my previous video. Or if it is not done, then I'll do that right away. So don't worry. The thing is, you need to know the kinds of sentences, how the simple sentence is written, how the compound sentence is written, how the different categories of the sentences are being uttered and stated. So you should know about that. So a simple sentence consists of one independent clause. So what is a clause? Clause is subject and predicate. If there is a combination of subject and a predicate, it is a clause. So whenever there is a simple sentence, it will have only one independent clause. That's what it is. Like, there would be one subject, and it can be more than one subject, but one predicate. There would be one verb, and expresses a complete thought in that one. An independent clause contains a subject or number of subjects, but one predicate. There would be one predicate. Always remember that. Mary likes tea. We did not go to the park. So did not go to the park is the predicate. Predicate is something which has been uttered by about the subject. So that's how it is. The earth goes round the sun. That's actually a universal truth statement. So everybody knows that. So water boils at 100 degrees centigrade at sea level. So that's also a universal truth. Everybody knows that. It's scientifically proved, it's scientifically assessed. Okay. Then thereafter, compound statement, complex statement. We will talk about that one later on. We are going to talk about like why we are doing it. Then thereafter, subject and verb agreement rules. This is really, really, really important. You should know about all these helping verbs and everything that we're going to talk about that later on. What my work would be, I'll be talking about the kinds of the sentences, these kinds of sentences, the compound sentence, complex sentence, and along with that one, the interjection in the next session. For now, I have to say bye-bye. Take care, and stay steady, stay studying, and keep watching English Lovers by Honeyd, and keep upgrading your English. That's what it is. It is what it is. I hope you have gotten to know something about the kinds of sentences. I forgot to actually explain about the interjection, but that is not that important. I actually covered that up in the exclamatory kinds of sentences in that portion, but somehow I'll be putting some limelight on that too in the next particular class. Okay. Interjection plus the kinds of sentences. We're going to talk about that at length, and I'll be attaching a certain link which will clear up the whole stuff. Like, the explanation will be at depth.